Arsenal.
Hello everybody out there in Rider Nation. Yesterday was a day I don't want to remember. Unreal. Oh boy, I have fears for the Rider Nation going forward here. We can't afford to have a team like this. I'm lost for words, really. Rider Nation's in big trouble. Big trouble. They got a team out there putting on a show that's not worth attending. And when that happens, you're in big trouble, because there'll be no dollars coming in, and we'll be back to the year's bankroll has no money in it, and they're running lotteries to stay alive. Gone will be those days when we're supporting the teams out east, like Toronto there. You know, like, we won't have the money to get players, get good coaches. It all goes down the line. I don't blame them for fans. When the Riders are putting on a product like they are right now on the field in the last few games especially, this whole season, Montreal, the first game they played against them, they laid an egg, and it was a terrible performance. I'm really down in the dumps. Really fear for the Saskatchewan Roughrider future here. Don't get me wrong, it's still not too late to turn the season around, believe it or not, with the performance of the other teams in the West. But this next game against Calgary, you know, I don't see how we're gonna beat them. Maybe if Mayor plays terrible. But my last video, I was pretty confident once they put Bo Levi in there that, man, we should be able to get to him. And again, I was proved wrong big time. Yeah, they didn't even need him. He only played about the first half, and then they put in Schultz. You know, yeah, we were actually in that game for the first quarter. They let that one long pass play and then an easy touchdown, but we're actually playing not too bad on the defensive side, and we moved the ball a bit. But I think the biggest turning point of that game, when I said, oh boy, here we go, is we're 3rd and 1 midfield, not even a full one. And what does Jeffries pull in? You know, he tries to throw a little bit of a trick play in there and run Morrow off the weak side of the formation. You know, and there's not one, there's two guys that go unblocked and just destroy Morrow. He was one of the only bright spots of the game. Morrow racked up a few yards, but on the other side, Butler, who, by the way, we had in camp and said he wasn't good enough for us and sent him packing, so he had something to prove. He ran like last night. Yeah, when you let the opposition have more than I think about 540 yards total offense, forget it. Just forget it. You're not gonna win any ball games. I've said over and over, defense wins ball games. And to prove a point, I think it was about the 9-minute mark of the fourth quarter before we finally stopped them for a 2 and out. That just goes to show you there was absolutely no defense. 9:40 in the fourth quarter before you make them punt. You know, so Dickinson said it all in his interview. He's dead man walking and everybody knows it. I don't know how deep it's going to go with O'Day or Reynolds. But I still advocate you might as well stick with him till the end of the season. I know you might save a few season tickets by acting early, but it's going to happen, so. And it's not going to help us out this season. You know, stick with him. Maybe Dickinson can get them going. I don't understand Shiver's defense. Was so good, but we're so vanilla. We don't blitz. You know, like I thought we forced Bo out of his pocket. There was not a chance. They didn't even get any pressures on the quarterbacks at all. So it just bleeds right down the line. You know, the DBs, you know, gotta cover them for too long. And you're gonna find somebody open. And they did. These guys were wide open. There was this missed assignment out there, missed assignment. There was one play where they're playing zone and they drop back. You can see them drop back in perfect formation, you know. They got three guys, the linebackers drop, everybody's got their zone, but nobody takes a player when they come into their zone. They all stand there and look at each other. No, that's your guy. No, that's your guy. And bang, now you're off chasing the guy down. Like, I don't understand why we're not blitzing, you know, even once in a while. There just doesn't seem to be any effort. And then when Schultz, a quarterback, Hamilton's quarterback, runs right over Moncrief and gets another 9 yards, he knocked him over like a bowling pin. Like, he's supposed to be one of your premier players, and they knock him over like he's a bowling pin. You know, that's so deflating on the sidelines and to other players and to the fans. Fans are disgusted. I'm one of them. Don't tell me I'm not a Rider fan because I criticize the Riders. That'll never happen. I'll always be a fan. I'll still buy my gear, go to what games I can afford, but that's another question of how much it costs to go to the game, especially for a family and anybody traveling from afar. You're probably looking at, you know, close to $1,000. It depends how far you're coming from. You know, gas prices and cost of buying a kid a drink and something to eat, and people even complain the food's terrible for what you're paying for. You know, everything's looking down, down, down. And the offensive play, Dolegala, you know, I like his arm. Said that before. But there's just no rollout. He stands in the pocket like a poker. Doesn't look after the ball. He's got it in one hand. Granted, you know, like sometimes they're rushing 3 guys and he still doesn't get 3 seconds to throw the ball. You know, like even 2 seconds is pushing it with 3 guys rushing. That's lack of bloody desire or just lack of talent. You know, how are you gonna get? We knew it was gonna be, you know, a bad year. I blame it on O'Day, on keeping him for this year. You couldn't let this tumble happen, and you knew it was a good chance of it happening by looking at last season. You know, Dickinson should have been gone Brought in somebody new this year to start the year off. Getting rid of them now won't help nothing at all. For Donegal, back to Donegal. You know, I don't know if it's play calling or him not reading the defenses, but swing pass after swing pass after swing pass, all out to the flats. You know, come on. You're lucky you didn't get one of those picked off. I think there's maybe 2 passes that I saw, one to Amelis and one to Shake and Bake over the middle, and I recall. Nothing downfield, nothing to stretch the field. So you got all these DBs, they're playing up tight. They don't have to worry about anybody going along. Maybe we don't have anybody with enough speed. As you can tell, I'm major frustrated. Maybe it goes way back to Reynolds. You know, he's a bean counter. You know, his football knowledge and being able to find football talent is limited. That's where everything has to start, is from the top down. And with O'Day, there's no reason. He was a Rough Rider, he was an offensive lineman, but I think what they lack is there's a Jones as one of his assistant general managers. These are the guys you really need to be able to find the talent to bring into the organization. You need contacts. They need to have really good contacts down south, because that's where the majority of your big time players come from. You know, like your talent from the States is your majority of your players, right from your quarterbacks to your premium positions. You know, but we just lack power. Yeah, we're just getting hammered. And it's so depressing watching from the sidelines and watching from the, I can imagine being in the stands this game. I don't blame people for leaving. I wouldn't have left. I might have lost a couple minutes, but I'd hung in there. You know, I like watching who really is giving up out there. And let me tell you, there was lots of them just giving up. You know, with Moncrief, back to him. You know, he didn't even, had that shoulder injury, and he really didn't even participate in camp. I'd ask him out there, how's your shoulder? Better than new, he said. Well, I don't know if he was bullshitting me or what, because he doesn't tackle near as tough as he did in years previous. And it goes to show you when he got run over by a quarterback. I said that about Dickinson on my training camp videos. Like, his practices, you could just see there wasn't the intensity. Like, I've been going to those training camps for I don't even know how many years. Pretty well ever since they've been coming down here to Saskatoon. And the vibe around his training camp is just there was no enthusiasm, there was no discipline, it seemed. It just no intensity. You know, like when guys are fighting for their jobs, there's no reason in hell that you shouldn't see some scuffles out there. You know, people say, oh, that's bad morale, bad for the team, scuffles. I don't think so. I think that's guys fighting for their jobs. And which right now, talking about fighting for their jobs, it's not Dickinson and the coaches. They know they're pretty well dust. It's the guys on the field, the players. If we expect to win this Calgary game, they better show up. You know, like, they want to get a paycheck. They don't deserve a paycheck to make the playoffs the way they played this season. But that being said, you know, get in the damn playoffs. Give yourself a chance. But I fear that won't happen. I just can't figure out what happened to the team, you know? Like, it baffles me. Like, we beat Winnipeg, we beat BC. You'd think you'd be all hyped up. Your team would be rolling. I don't know if they ended up with injuries or too bruised up to play another game. I don't know. To me, it must be mental. It has to be a mental block somewhere that just has to be a mental thing. Can't see that they had the talent to win those games. You know, like, where did that go? Where did the play calling go? The execution go? Like I said, I really fear for this team. Like, if we are, I would say 100%, they're gonna get rid of the whole coaching staff. Head coach goes, everybody goes. So you start from square one. Where the GM goes, he might go. So you're starting from square one again. You know, might have to find a guy that can do both jobs coming in here, but who's that? You know, maybe they should give a guy like Scott Fleury from the Huskies. He took over in crazy times for the Huskies from Towers, but I don't know, he doesn't. You need a guy in the head office that got close contacts. And we're starting from square one. You know, even Edmonton, sure, they look terrible, but they were coming on, so they'll come on even more next year. You know, these guys are gonna have way more experience, and they were trending upwards, so we're even behind them. You know, I doubt if there'd be a change in Calgary. That's, like I said, Dickinson fires himself, finds another head coach. They've got Hofnagel and his front staff. They always seem to be able to find some talent down south, where I really think that's the key to this whole thing, is finding some talent. You know, you can have all the best coaches in the world, but if you're lacking the talent, you're not going nowhere. Oh, anyway, we still have a chance next game, and I'll see what the word is around Riderville. See what happens this week. Got to play against Calgary in Calgary, and our home record's just pathetic. I mean, away record's just pathetic. Pretty down, like every Rider fan is, I'm sure. There's a few staying positive and saying this and that, but a lot of them are saying they're gonna bail out, and that really scares me. I'm sure it scares Reynolds more. You start losing season tickets and your main fan base, you're in big trouble. You know, even I didn't know it till later, they had given away free tickets. That's scary. I appreciate that and everything. They're trying to get bums in seats, but you're not getting any cash for them except for at the concessions. May have to start doing that like Toronto. Anyway, it's about my rant for today. I'd like to thank each and every one of my subscribers and anybody that tunes in here and listens to this old guy talk about the Rough Riders. I know you got a lot better things to do with your time than to listen to me rant away like a fool. But I'll keep making these videos, I hope, and don't get too damn down. And maybe we'll be excited after next week's game. You know. Anyway. Till next time, go Riders, go.